I get it, when you're hunting for a new gaming rig, you're not looking for a laundry list of specs you can barely pronounce. What you really want is a machine that starts up without a fuss, runs the games you love at solid frame rates, and won't bleed your wallet dry after a year of upgrades. You've probably been scrolling through endless tables of cores, threads, and ray tracing benchmarks, feeling a little uneasy about spending big on something that might end up collecting dust because it can't keep up with the titles you actually play. The real question is, will this desktop fit into my everyday life and give me the bang for buck I'm after, or am I just buying hype? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's break down the Acer Nitro 85 the way a regular gamer would think about it. No tech guru lecture, just practical, day-to-day reality. First off, the Nitro 85 ships with the Intel Core Ultra 7265F, a processor that sits in the newer Ultra family. In plain English, that means you get a decent amount of headroom for modern games and the occasional video editing session without feeling throttled. It's not the absolute top-tier beast, but paired with the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5070 it forms a balanced combo. The RTX 5070, while not the flagship 70 series, still supports DLSS 3 and ray tracing at 1080p and decent 1440p performance. For most titles like Fortnite, Valorant, or Elden Ring you'll be hovering in the 60-90 FPS range on high settings, which is more than enough for a smooth, immersive experience. If you're chasing ultra-high refresh rates on 4K monitors, you might notice the FPS dip in the most demanding scenes, but for a typical gaming setup triple monitor at 1440p or a single 1440p TV it feels right on the money. What matters most is how the system behaves once you've got it out of the box. The Nitro 85's chassis is designed with a Panoramic Perfection theme, meaning the front panel showcases RGB lighting that syncs with the GPU's own effects. It's a nice visual touch that many gamers appreciate, but more importantly the case incorporates a well-thought-out airflow path. The included cooling solution, a single 120mm rear exhaust fan and a front intake, keeps the CPU and GPU temperatures under 75°C under load, according to thermal readings shared by early owners. That translates into stable performance during long sessions, and you won't be hearing that annoying fan whine that some budget rigs produce when the heat spikes. Now, let's talk storage. The 1TB Gen 4 SSD is the real workhorse here. Loading times in open-world games shrink to under 10 seconds, and it feels snappy when you're jumping between Steam, Discord, and a web browser. It also means you can install several large titles without worrying about hitting a ceiling quickly. That's a practical win for anyone who likes to keep a library of modern games handy. The DDR5 56000 16GB RAM is sufficient for multitasking, streaming, voice chat, and gameplay simultaneously, though power users who run heavy mods or virtual machines might eventually want to upgrade to 32GB. Connectivity is another spot where the Nitro 85 tries to stay ahead. Wi-Fi 7 is built in, which future-proofs the machine for faster wireless standards. In real-world testing, the Wi-Fi 7 module delivered a stable 500 megabits per second connection on a typical home router, which is more than enough for streaming 4K videos while gaming. The Ethernet port is still there for those who prefer a wired link, and the front I/O includes USB-C and multiple USB-A ports, making it easy to plug in a headset, external drive, or controller without reaching behind the unit. Who should consider buying this rig? If you're a mid-range gamer who wants a rear ditto-play PC that can handle current AAA titles at high settings, does a respectable amount of streaming, and appreciates a touch of visual flair, the Nitro 85 checks the boxes. It's also a good pick for someone who doesn't want to dive into building a PC from scratch but still desires the upgrade path. The fact that it runs Windows 11 Home out of the box means you're good to go with the latest OS features, and the pre-installed Acer software isn't intrusive. It simply provides quick access to drivers and system updates. On the flip side, there are clear groups who should skip this model. If you're a competitive esports player whose priority is ultra-low latency and you're chasing 240Hz refresh at 1080p, you'll likely need a higher-tier GPU and a more aggressive cooling solution to guarantee consistent frame delivery. Likewise, if you're a content creator who relies heavily on GPU-accelerated rendering, the RTX 5070, while capable, won't match the performance of a true RTX 3080 class card. In those cases, the Nitro 85 would feel like a stepping stone rather than a final solution. Finally, if your budget is tight and you can comfortably wait for a build-it-yourself approach, you might find a custom PC assembled with similar parts for less money, albeit with the extra time and research required. Practical strengths of the Nitro 85 are its out-of-the-box readiness, solid temperature management, and a storage.